Mr. Baker, I understand that there has been some high-quality testing, some high-quality learning going on with Michelin, with prototype cars, famous racetracks on the East Coast and otherwise, getting ready for 2019, becoming IMSA's official tire partner for all the goodness we're going to have. I know you can't tell us any secrets yet, but how's testing been going from your perspective?
So, we had this original idea that just be plug and chug from the WEC. And in fact, as many of us had suspected, we'd need a little something extra for certain tracks, certain high energy tracks on the IMSA circuit. And so I'm pleased to report that has gone well. We have we just recently completed a test at Daytona that confirmed one of our solutions, what we'll call our IMSA specific medium solution for prototypes. Went very well. So I would say where we are right now is more or less where we would like to be, or where we should be on our timeline. Being who I am, I'd rather be done.
Usually we were talking 6 months ago.
Yeah, I'd rather be done, but we're on the timeline, and I guess I can't ask much more of the team than that.
I've also heard about possibly having some fun at Watkins Glen as well, but regardless, what kind of feedback have you been getting from teams that have been used to a different tire product for many years in prototype form, now to using frankly a tire brand that, as I mentioned before, I've only been accustomed to through the American Le Mans Series, through WEC. What kind of feedback have you gotten from your test teams?
So I would say in general that it's consistent across the board, Marshall. Whether it's a team running a GS car, even TCR, all the way up to prototype. It's been interesting for us because what I'm going to tell you next is what we try to do, but it's interesting to have people actually tell this. What they tell us, to be succinct, is that the tires are multi-dimensional. That what we're providing them is a product that they can use to do more than one thing at a time. They can accelerate and turn. They can brake and turn. They can do relatively violent things with the car, like if you're trying to dive inside of somebody in a corner and you need to jump out of the throttle, you don't have anything really ugly happen. So by multi-dimensional, I mean that you can use more than one pedal at a time. You can use the steering wheel and the pedal at the same time.
And we're not speaking sports car specific, but there have been some tire solutions over the years where you do hear drivers talking about them being one-dimensional. Right. I must brake, get the car slowed, everything settled, then I can turn. That's a second motion of tire loading. Then I get on the throttle. That's a third motion. But those are three distinct actions I have to do because the tire won't allow me to combine a couple of them, which is where extra speed comes from. So if you have folks telling you, I can kind of do what I want, that's what you want to hear, I'd imagine.
It is, and you've described it really well. You've always heard folks talk about the traction circle or the traction ellipse, which is a more accurate representation. The fact that we offer drivers a product that allows them to do more than one thing at a time should, at least in theory, offer good raceability. Testing is certainly different than racing, but having these signals of what we interpret to be raceability, good raceability, would seem to bode well for putting guys in combat. Because, as you well know, when you put guys on the racetrack, testing's one thing, racing's another. Because when you're racing and the blood's running out of your ears and you're trying to get a position, you put the car in positions that
it's designers never intended.
That's right. You do things that are not by the book. So having tires underneath you that allow you to do some of those things without biting you, that's pretty important. And again, it's, what I said at the beginning is really important to us. The fact that we're getting feedback which indicates that our objective is being more or less realized, that's encouraging, but I'd still rather be done, right? I'd rather have it all done now and let's just go racing.
Final question for you, Chris. Michelin, by and large, when I think of any sports car series you've been involved in, it's always been about building tires, not just to win the race, but also to win in the marketplace. There could be competing brands there, so you want something, obviously, that is faster, more durable, etc. Knowing that you'll be taking over sole supply, how do you manage that innate thing of beat, conquer, destroy, knowing that, okay, maybe that's not the objective, but we still want to see fast cars. We don't want the lap times to go down.
That is a great question. The way we've dealt with it and the way we will deal with it in IMSA is that when we're by ourselves, when we are, the sole supplier in a series, we will always try to find ways to push ourselves. I'll use the example of WEC, and then I'll follow it with the example of WRC, and I'll follow it with a third example of MotoGP. In WEC, we worked with the FIA some time ago, as the FIA has worked on sustainable racing, not just with hybrid drivetrains and that sort of thing, but decreasing tire allocations. It forces us to develop products that are as fast during the second stint as they were during the first stint, and occasionally in the third stint, by the way, because if your allocation is such that you absolutely have to double stint tires, we have to work hard to develop a product that will do that.
Yeah.
So that pushes us. WRC, another example. Tire allocations have gone down, and yet special stage times are faster than ever.
Yeah.
And then finally in MotoGP, where we go with, we might have 3 or 4 fronts, 3 or 4 rears, very track specific, and yet because of the different chassis, the different bikes, you'll have guys have guys run up front with completely different combinations. We give them a choice to develop their own and conceive their own race strategy as a function of what their bikes can do and what their riders can do. We'll do the same thing in IMSA. We will push ourselves working with IMSA to provide solutions that are as constant in performance as we can deliver. And we'll continue to do the same thing that we've done in WEC, in the GTE Pro, and here in IMSA and GTLM. In particular, where we have the tightest ties to our original equipment partners, we will extract technologies from the tires we'll be running.
Wow.
And put them in tires that you and I can buy at the end of the day. That takes a bit of time. Usually there's a 2, 3, sometimes even a 4-year time lag when you go from fairly experimental to industrial, but that's what we will do.
I love this kind of stuff, but you know that about me, the technical side, that's one of my major loves for sports cars. So Mr. Baker, thank you for your time, and also we should say thank you to Ford Chip Ganassi Racing for letting us hold on to their set of tires.
Indeed.
Here. Use that as a nice little backdrop. Thanks again, brother.
Thanks, Marshall. Good to see you.